Welcome to Economic Development Unravelled. There are multiple major problems when a nation allows foreign capital to make business investments in the country with or without the aim to expand national output and enter into the high-income category. First, foreign direct investment can never be large enough to meet the aspirations of building national wealth in a few decades to the size that is needed to expand per capita output or income to the levels of developed nations. Further, the policy of attracting foreign capital runs contrary to the goal of building national wealth. Before we continue, I want to thank our video sponsor, Fiverr. Fiverr Learn is a great platform that offers online professional courses created by the world's top experts. From the comfort of your home, you can now learn and master in-demand skills that will get you closer to landing your dream job. Check out their courses across marketing, graphic design, website building, writing, business, creative tools, video and photography. These skills are in very high demand and pay well. Pick a course of your choice and see yourself landing that job or project that you have always dreamed of. Click the link in the description and it will take you directly to Fiverr Learn. Back to the video. For a developing country, imagine the scale involved in the development of a given single manufacturing industry such as automobiles, or construction equipment manufacturing. It is not just a matter of creating 2 or 3 domestically owned and operated companies within an industry. For a nation with a population like India, 5 to 10 very large companies along with 10 to 20 medium to large companies and numerous smaller companies are necessitated to push the economy towards high per capita income status. Not just that. Such a country also needs to build hundreds of other companies that are either suppliers of raw materials, or distributors of the final products before the end customer can buy them. Moreover, all these companies don't spring up on the go. They start small, with an initial revenue of $1 million, they grow to $100 million after a decade. Then, they reach $1 billion within a few more years after that. Then, they quickly pace to $10 billion. Along this journey, many of them fail and file for bankruptcy. So, among the hundreds or even thousands of enterprises across the value chain that begins in earnest, a very few sustain to become very large, and another few large enough to vie for the top spot in the future. And many smaller ones remain that strive to compete fiercely. Now imagine such a scenario playing out across multiple industries. The scale of expansion needed in the nation's output during its development is gigantic, and it will come from the extraordinary expansion of output of all of its industries. But the capital needed to build those many enterprises, out of which many fail before some of them acquire and assimilate frontier technology, and become big, is enormous. And a developing country has to source the capital needed for that investment entirely from its domestic savings. That is because, just speaking in the dollar value alone, no amount of foreign direct investment can match the scale of capital that a major developing country, such as India, need along the journey towards high income. China is a good example to look at, since China and India have very large and almost similar adult population figures. For instance, look at the massive scale of fixed capital investment China has made in the last few decades in comparison to the size of net foreign direct investment the country has received. FDI into China is paltry throughout its rise compared to the gigantic volumes of investments the nation undertook each year. FDI flows into China was hyped during the 1990s and 2000s. However, by looking at the data, it is crystal clear that China has relied to a small extent on FDI to fund its huge annual domestic investments. Even the paltry FDI inflow into China only came after the country began posting unbelievably high GDP growth rates throughout the 1980s. China's rise to the top did not come from attracting foreign capital. Rather, foreign capital attracted to China because the country was rising to the top. China built their own mega conglomerates, industry behemoths, tech giants. At present, the dominant firms in the Chinese industry are not the subsidiary companies of foreign giants, but companies that are predominantly Chinese-owned and operated. Likewise, India's path toward high income is not paved with the local subsidiaries of Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, but by building their own version of Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes-Benz. The stalwarts of late industrialization, Japan and South Korea, have done that. Japan built their own versions of all those brands in the form of Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Suzuki, Mazda, Isuzu, Subaru. South Korea produced their own in the form of Hyundai and Kia, two global brands appropriate for the size of the country, given that South Korea had less than 1/3 of the population of Japan when it began industrialization in 1973. In 2019, South Korea had more than 4,500 companies operating in the automotive industry alone. When it came to shipbuilding, Japan built their own in the form of Kawasaki, Mitsubishi, Sumitomo, and many others. Likewise, South Korea also created their own in Samsung, Hyundai, and Daewoo. South Korea, a country that had an abysmal per capita income during the 1950s, focused on building their own shipbuilding industry during its industrialization drive in the 1970s. Today, the country is the global leader in shipbuilding, facing strong competition from none other than the shipbuilding industry that China had created. Foreign direct investment cannot create hundreds and thousands of enterprises in a given industry, let alone across every other industry, all of which is absolutely required to enable India to produce output in the scale and size that qualifies its income in the higher income category. Further, enterprises that result from foreign direct investment remain foreign-owned, which means the value of the enterprise cannot count towards national wealth. Second, foreign direct investment will stifle industry development in size, scale, and technology to the desired level by adversely affecting business entry, technology assimilation, and build-up of supplier product market fit within any given industry in the economy of any developing country. To understand, there are two things to remember. In the initial stages, a developing country wouldn't have the businesses that a modern industrialized nation needs to have. Second, it also wouldn't have the frontier technology, meaning advanced and cutting-edge technology in any given industry. Everything has to be brought up from the ground. Therefore, the final goods manufacturing industry has a very long and arduous task of rising along the steep technological curve before it can catch up with the manufacturers from the industrialized nations. Their rise involves acquisition and assimilation of frontier technology from foreign multinational companies, and perfecting the product market fit along the way. In that scenario, what a developing country will have to do is to incentivize the private sector to create numerous businesses across swaths of industries which more often than not involve foreign technology acquisition and steep learning curve before they become dominant in the industry. So, when a foreign-owned enterprise with frontier technology enters into the economy of a developing nation, that foreign enterprise operates with an inherent advantage by way of its scale and technology. Customer expectations undergoes change in line with the new foreign player who brings efficiency and advanced technology, which the domestic enterprises cannot match. Only the biggest among the pool of customers will be able to afford the products of the foreign-owned enterprise, further boosting the dominant position those customers enjoy in their industries. The domestic enterprises trying to assimilate frontier technology, which they have acquired, are robbed of potential customers who by then would become used to the superior profile of the product machinery and equipment sold by the foreign-owned enterprises. Therefore, the domestic enterprises, who are inferior in scale and technology, gets impacted adversely, anywhere between a slowdown in the pace of growth to bankruptcy. The failure of existing enterprises will impact new business entry. This entire scenario can vary in degree from industry to industry within the final goods heavy industry manufacturing. That is why having a foreign-owned enterprise with frontier technology operating in a developing nation will alter the technology landscape of that nation, making it out of sync with the development status of the country. That will impact new business entry, product market fit trials of domestic enterprises, and cause a general slowdown of the pace of the overall industry development needed to match that of a developed nation. That's it for today. If you have found this video interesting, that's because the content is based on the recently released groundbreaking book in economics, The General Theory of Rapid Economic Development. Vastly original and path-breaking, the book presents certain key discoveries in macroeconomics that totally upend the mainstream economic thinking. Get this copy on Amazon and you will never ever feel the need to buy another economics book again. Like this video and help the channel grow. Please do subscribe and hit the bell icon to get the notification so you will never miss another quality video like this. I'll see you in the next video.